So I recently ran this Black Friday campaign utilizing this sequence of email. And today in this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly what this email sequence looked like and how you can utilize it in literally any email marketing campaign. The case study that I'm going to be utilizing is for Black Friday, but it doesn't matter what event, training, season, time of the year it might be. As long as you have any type of offer or product or launch and you want to be able to create an email campaign from it, by the end of this video, you're going to be able to see exactly the different angles to utilize so that you can model the same type of languaging and messaging that I'm utilizing in my emails. All right, let's begin. Recently, I ran this Black Friday deal for lifetime. And again, it doesn't need to be a Black Friday offer. By the time you're watching this video, Black Friday is already over. But as long as you have got this thing that you want to be able to promote, you'll be able to utilize this email. Now, what makes this entire video and training different is that if you've been on these type of on my channel for a while now, you know that what differentiates this channel is that I don't teach theory. I've got a problem with theory. I literally walk you through behind the scenes of what it is that I actually do. So I'm going to start off by showing you this example of the only 3 types of emails that I send in any type of campaign. So in order for us to explain and understand how this entire sequence works, I first need to show you how I discovered it. You see, for a really long time, a part of my life is selling on stages. Organizers would invite me to their event. I would go on, and typically at the end of the 90 minutes or so, I would make an offer. So this was an event that I did in Sao Paulo in Brazil. And after I made the offer, here's what I discovered. By doing this in more than 20 countries all over the world, I realized that it's always the same thing. There's always this pattern. Now, this is known as a table lunch. This is where I'm at the tables after I've created the presentation. And the first wave of people that you're seeing over here are typically the first wave of buyers. And this first wave of buyers are typically people who follow their emotion and follow their gut feel in order to make that decision. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm somebody that follows, I'm an emotional buyer. If I feel it, okay, I'm in. Now, the weird thing is, every other family member of mine, they're not emotional buyers. They're the second type of buyers, which I'll talk about in a second. But the first wave of buyers that you will get in every marketing campaign, because if you understand this, you'll be able to understand how to structure your entire campaign. It is going to be people that follows their emotion in order to decide whether they're buying or not. These are, just like a live event, these are the people that are sitting down, and then the first wave of buyers are standing up, and now typically sometimes they could be like running to the tables to buy. And as you can see here, I've been doing this for a really long time. You can see here, this is like nearly 10 years ago. Okay, I realized that, hey, what if I could include this not just on presentations on stages, but in our promotional campaigns, in our email sequence. This is where I want to be able to walk you through how to structure this for the different types of audiences that you're speaking to, and how this will dictate your email sequence for every campaign. And this is literally what I did for Black Friday in order to get a huge surge in sales and what it is that you can model from this 6-figure case study. Okay, so the first one, okay, we have established is emotion. Now, what does this mean? This means that our first batch of emails, emotion is evoked by either 2 things. Okay, it's either, it is said that people will take action either because of the carrot or the stick. Now, what is the stick? This would be the pain of staying the same, right? So this would be their struggles, their frustrations, where they're currently at, right? And talking about that. Or the second part, why would people take action, is because of the carrot, right? So this would be the dream, the outcome, the ambition, the result, right? Here's what's possible. Here's what your life could be like if you could achieve this, okay? So typically, my first batch of emails would be a mixture of these two things, okay? This is where you want to think about how can you evoke emotion, because this is the first batch of people that will buy from you, okay? They don't care about the other aspects. They just want to be able to feel it, right? If they feel it, they're going to buy, okay? So in other words, your goal is to make people feel like buying your offer. How can you get some? What do people buy? People buy your stuff because they feel like buying your stuff. So your goal in your marketing, your presentation, your pitch is to get somebody to feel like buying your offer, your product, or your program, or your service. So because of this, you want to be able to think about, well, how can I evoke that emotion? Can I talk about the pain of staying the same? The opportunity cost, what it's costing them for not just taking action, but rather their inaction in life? What's going to happen a year, 3 years, 5 years from now if they're still stuck in the same position? Or can I talk about the outcome, their ambition, what's possible for them if they did that thing differently, okay? Now, this is where it's important to know that this is typically, you'll get about 35% of your buyers in this category, okay, your first wave of people. Now, this is where you might notice, and again, I want to be able to give you that actual case study of how I structure it. If you were to see this, okay, you'll notice that my first email, like Black Friday came early, right? It's the announcement. This is where you'll be able to get all of my best stuff at a huge discount. I'm not waiting for until Black Friday to hook you up, okay? So now, and by the way, this is the actual raw file, right? Like literally my team is telling, you know, the tech team hyperlink this, so you're seeing the exact thing of how the entire process looks like, okay? Now, if you take a look at this, you notice that this email that gets people to the link, it doesn't really even explain what the offer is. It's just, hey, if you want to be able to get all my best stuff, right? And how before this is the same process. We've helped our clients get their 2 Comma Club awards, you know, while we work on their offer, their funnel and traffic over and over again. Okay, so if you think about it, this is just like the outcome, talking about their ambition, what's possible for them, as well as what things could be like if they did things differently. Okay, now, so this is the first batch of emails. Now, what you want to be able to do, like depending on your campaign, I will split this up into the 3 categories. So if it's a 21-day campaign, it will be 7 emails each. If it's a 10-day campaign, it might be 3 emails each. Okay. Now, this brings us to the second group of people, and you probably guessed it by now, okay? The second group of people are the group of people that would smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. If you're enjoying this video so far, it does help the channel out. First of all, comment below what it is that your biggest takeaway is from the video. And as always, be sure to subscribe to this channel if you want to be able to not just understand theory, but actual practical marketing lessons that could potentially transform your business and be the first to be notified about it. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Okay, that brings us to the next one. And the next one is people who utilize logic and reason. Now, I know that for most people think, oh, I'm a really logical person, right? Now, in most cases, most of the time, we make our decisions based on emotion, and then we back it up with logic. Now, this second group of people are the people who want to be able to analyze the pros and cons, the value, if they should be doing this thing logically, right? And they want to balance out and do a whole SWOT analysis and really see, like, well, is this thing really for me? Okay, so for the people that's more left brain, okay, logic, reason, we want to be able to speak to them differently, because just by talking about the outcome or the dream or the pain point of staying the same is not going to be enough. Okay, now there are many different ways to think about how to tackle logic. Now, the first type of email under logic could be frequently asked questions. Okay, people want to be able to see, like, logically, I've got all these different questions, and what are typically the questions that is in people's mind? Okay, these are the first few ones. Okay, so a good way is just to start off with, like, so here's what it's about. Here's what you're getting. Okay, here's why it's important, and here's why we're doing it. Okay, here's how we're doing it together in order to help you achieve that result. So this is where the logical brains want to understand, like, oh, I see, this is the mechanics of what's going to happen in order to make this happen. For the emotional people, they don't need to know this. They'll be like, oh, that makes sense, right? I feel it in my gut. I mean, over here, they want to be able to understand that. So in order to remember this, just think of it as, you say it's just the what, why, and how. Okay, if you say it fast enough, it sounds like some Chinese name, some Chinese guy, some dude in China. His name's What, Why, How, right? So if you want to remember, like, what should I talk about? It's Mr. What, Why, How living in China that you need to address. And once you address this, that's when they are thinking, oh, okay, that makes sense. Okay. Now, a second type of email under the logic category could be thinking about their different objections and why they are not buying. Okay, so this is when you want to take an entire objection that people normally have with regards of whether it's the offer, whether it's a product, whether it's the vehicle that you want them on, or the opportunity, and turn that entire objection, that's something that people might say to you, into an email, into a talking point. Okay, whatever it be, we will be like, hey, I want to be able to get started in real estate. This thing's amazing, but I don't have the capital. Okay, so for example, this is when you take that, right? Real estate is amazing, but I don't have the capital. Use that as a talking point in an entire email sequence, right? Maybe your opportunity is publishing books. So you should have one video or one email that says, hey, I can understand why, writing books is amazing, but I'm horrible at writing. Okay, so here's what you should be doing instead, right? Here's how you can speak your book. Okay, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing in your offering, right? So think about what those objections are, right? I'm too young to do this. I'm too old to do this. I'm not confident enough. I'm not charismatic enough. I'm not handsome enough, right? I don't have the following, but I'm not a celebrity, but I'm not an influencer. Whatever that objection is, utilize that as your talking points, and guess what? This could be another three different emails, right? Where you literally call out that objection. Think about all the different objections that it might have. Use it as your talking point, because this is what a logical person is thinking, right? Oh, this is amazing, but here's why it won't work. It won't work because fill in the blanks. All right, next one. Next one is to think about, like, logically. Logically, a good way is think about worst case scenario versus best case scenario. You want to be able to show them the contrast. Okay, so if you did this, what's the worst that could happen? What's the best thing that could happen, right? If you did this, the best case scenario is it changes your business, it changes your life, and just like all these different clients, case studies that I've shown you, it worked for them and it worked for you as well. What's your worst case scenario? The worst case scenario is you tried it out. You genuinely, showed up for the calls, or and you applied and implemented what it is that I showed you. Worst case scenario is you spent all of that time and it didn't work out for you. What do? You send us an email at email name, and we'll refund 100% of your money back for genuinely trying. Now, I don't know what your return policy is, but this is where I'm just showing you, like, so best case scenario, it changes your life. Worst case scenario is you learn something new and you get your money back. Okay. Now, if this is applicable to you, right, then utilize that, right? Worst case versus best case. Now, another one for a logic person, it could be related to number 3 a little bit. This could be testimonials or results or case studies. Okay. So what people want to be able to see is the application of this, right? Here's so-and-so who also had objection name, and here's what happened to this person after they utilized this. Okay. So all these different items falls under umbrella of logic, reason, right? And finally, number 5 that falls under logic is people want to be able to see the entire offer stack, okay? Which is like just doing a recap on what are they really getting. The emotional person just wants to see the result. Oh, the result makes sense, I'm in, okay? The logical person's asking, so what am I getting? What are the list of things that I'm going to get as a result of paying you this thing? So this is when they want to be able to see numbers. They want to be able to see, okay, the first thing you're going to get is you're going to be able to get access to the live calls. The second thing, you're going to get our tools. The third thing you're going to get is all of our different templates. Number 4, you're going to get all of the scripts that we use. Number 5 is you'll be able to come to a live event. They want to be able to see this. The logical person, this is what turns them on. They literally get a hard on We're not going to edit that. It is what it is. They're literally going to get a hard on when they see this, and they're going, man, this thing's amazing. That's the thing that turns them on. Okay, so that is what the logical person is thinking, and that finally brings us to the last piece of the puzzle. And the last piece of the puzzle that makes people buy is how you close out. Okay, now if at the end of your campaign, if the emotional person hasn't bought yet and the logical person hasn't bought yet, then first of all, what's wrong with this person? Well, there's nothing wrong with them. This is where the majority of the buyers are going to be over here. And this is basically people who, they might be sold to why they should buy it, but they don't see why they should buy now. So why now? Like, why should I take action now? Not tomorrow, not next week? Because most of the time, we are incapable of making a decision. Like, there's no reason to make a decision now. Why don't I make a decision, next month, next year? Why don't I go back home and talk to my partner first? Okay, so these group of people, this is when you want to be able to close out with some sort of scarcity or utilize some sort of reason to why this thing's going away. Okay, if not, there's no decision that's going to be made. So in other words, it's emotion, logic, and scarcity. Now, what is scarcity? This is when you'll notice that in every marketing campaign, right, email sequence, you'll notice that the 2 periods that you get most sales in every campaign is when you open and when you close. And there are many moments when the closing of the cart, the sales is more than the open. Now, sometimes it's usually the open that's more, but this is where, your close could potentially be higher. Okay. Now, so in other words, the amazing thing about opening cart is the fact that you get to close it, because when you close it, you actually make more sales than leaving it running evergreen, right, for a launch. So this is where you want to think about, okay, how can I make it, you probably want to write this down, how can I make it painful if they didn't take action now? Or how can I make it painful? So this is where you want to be able to utilize things like, oh, the discount's going away, okay? Or it could be, right, so like for us, like Black Friday, right, the moment we sell 1,000 spots, or when Black Friday is over, whichever happens first, right, this deal is over and it's never going to be happening again. Okay, so like this thing's going away. It could be, maybe it's a campaign for, let's say you're doing a course, an event, a training. It could be like this event, the intake is going to be starting on the 1st of the month. So we have to finalize and close out registrations by the 28th. Okay, so now there's a real reason why you have to close it off, right? Or it could be because this is a physical live event, right? And literally the physical capacity to this event is 100 people, right? We have to close out after 100 sales. We would love to do more than 100, but there's this thing called the law. And in most countries, right, you probably won't be able to get away with it. Malaysia might be an exception, but this is where, right, you people are saying, oh wait, I get it now. This is I need to take action. Okay, so now you want to be able to think about how can I close this off with some sort of where the discount's going away. Okay, where there is a physical limitation, right, or this thing is starting soon, right, and this thing's never going to be repeated again, and if this thing's gone, it's gone. Okay, and when you can give them that email that comes from the angle of, there's 48 hours left, there's 24 hours left, there's 3 hours left, do not underestimate the power of this 3-hour email. Okay, this is typically when you'll get as much sales as when you open the cart is when you close it off with some sort of scarcity, because there's the fear of missing out. Okay, so this is literally the same exact sequence that we utilize for Black Friday. It's not just for Black Friday, but literally for any type of product launch, for any type of offer, whether it's an event, whether it's a training, whether it's a done for you, whether it's your mastermind, you'll be able to utilize this sequence because it's always these different 3 types of buyers. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you truly want to get good at marketing, especially for this year and beyond, be sure to binge watch this entire playlist that's going to appear in front of you in about 3 seconds.